Hello and welcome back to the Drug Trip. It's common knowledge that psychedelics such as LSD, magic mushrooms and other derivatives can have an impact on our brain function. It can also greatly influence our mood, emotions and feelings. However, in a recent study, it's been suggested that these substances could potentially heal damaged brain cells in people suffering from depression, anxiety and addiction. So the study, which was led by Dr. David Olsen at the University of California, seemed to bring a promising step forward with the use of psychedelic substances to combat such mental conditions. And the study may also suggest that these positive effects may have a longevity greater than that of the principal effects of the drugs themselves. The study looks at how through controlled use and dosage, psychedelics were actually able to increase the number of dendrites sprouting from nerve cells within the brain. So certain mental health conditions can actually cause those dendrites to atrophy, basically waste away. Now, dendrites are appendages that are designed to receive communications from other cells. Now, they resemble a tree-like structure, so they form projections that become stimulated by other neurons, and they actually conduct the electrochemical charge to the cell body. And with certain mental health conditions, as I said, they can be caused to sort of waste away. And obviously these dendrites at the end are synapses, where their electrical impulses are passed on to other nerve cells and actually underpin all brain activity. So in a rather prominent study, Dr. Olsen administered a single dose of DMT to rats, and the effects had shown to help the rats overcome a fear of electric shock that was meant to emulate post-traumatic stress disorder. And now they've been shown to increase the number of these branch-like dendrites sprouting from nerve cells within the rat's brain. And as you can see on the image on the screen there, the figure shows clearly the effects of three substances that were used. DMT, LSD and amphetamines were used, and they're shown to have a much greater effect on neurons in the prefrontal cortex than the control that was used. And as Olsen stated, one of the hallmarks of depression is that the neurites in the prefrontal cortex, which is a key area in the brain that regulates mood, emotions, anxiety, those neurites tend to shrivel up in individuals affected by, stress, anxiety, PTSD, addiction, etc. And they found that in tests on human brain cells in the laboratory, substances such as LSD, DMT and psilocybin mushrooms consistently boosted these crucial connections. Dr. Olsen compared these effects to ketamine, which is another illicit substance which is actually breaking some serious ground as becoming one of the most important new treatments for depression, and he found that psychedelics had an equal or greater effect. At present, a ketamine nasal spray has been fast-tracked through clinical trials after it was shown to rapidly relieve symptoms of depression and thoughts of suicide in individuals who in particular couldn't be helped by other conventional treatments. However, there are risks involved. Ketamine does have the potential for abuse, and it may form a crippling addiction in certain individuals, hence why the alternative routes discussed are being sought as a potential alternative while minimising further risk and harm. It's also hopeful that these new treatments may replace other harmful medications such as benzodiazepines, which are used to treat anxiety, etc. These medications can become extremely addictive, and they do present very difficult and potentially deadly withdrawal symptoms. People, they've long assumed that psychedelics are capable of altering neuron structure, but this is the first study that clearly and unambiguously supports those assumptions. And the fact that many of these drugs seem to mimic, if not better, the groundbreaking effects of ketamine opens up many new treatment options.
I became really interested in using neuroplasticity to fix broken circuits when I heard about a molecule called ketamine. Recently, it was approved by the FDA for treatment-resistant depression, and a lot of research has suggested that its therapeutic mechanism of action relies on its ability to promote the growth of cortical neurons. My academic lab recently discovered that classic serotonergic psychedelic compounds like LSD or dimethyltryptamine are able to regrow cortical neurons to a comparable extent as ketamine. The critical question for us really was whether or not the hallucinogenic effects of these drugs were necessary for their therapeutic effects. One of the most exciting days in labs was when we found that sub-hallucinogenic doses of psychedelic compounds actually still produce therapeutic effects. And that really suggested to us that the hallucinogenic properties of these drugs and their beneficial effects on neuroplasticity could be decoupled. And this really is the basis for Psychedelics therapeutics.
Thank you for watching the video. I really hope that you found this helpful. If you did enjoy the video, please subscribe to the channel and feel free to leave some comments down below. If you have any experience, with psychedelics or other substances that may have, positively impacted, any specific, thoughts or emotions or feelings that you're having at the moment, we would love to hear in the comments below. But above all, please be safe and be well.